Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about progress versus diversity, this conflict that is going on. So let's dive deep into it. So understanding the progress side of it, well, here's the what does that mean, right? You will hear this word progress. What the hell does that mean? Well, think in this way. Humans are the first and the only species as of now that has hit what we call civilization level intelligence, meaning we are no longer doing things for an individual or a group of people or a tribe. We are basically doing things on a civilizational level. Basically, sometimes we are changing the planet, sometimes we are doing things that will not benefit just one person, but multiple, or maybe even large portion of humanity itself. So we have hit this civilization intelligence level, meaning we are no longer just one individual alone surviving. So we have reached that point, and the primary benefit that we have over all other species is that we make and do things whose time horizon is outside of single lifespan, meaning there are researchers who are working. They will never see the benefits of that labor, but they are still doing it. Like somebody somewhere in 1930 they figured out something, and now we are using that technology. So beyond death, like we have crossed that threshold, meaning we are working knowing full well that we are not going to see the benefit of it, but somebody else down the line will see that, and that pushes us on a level that no other species on this planet has. And so far so good. Again, that's just minor things. The major booster we have is basically sharing knowledge and wisdom free of time, meaning it does not matter. Like, let's just say somebody figured out some system of farming, and they're like, you know what, this is information that, let's say they figured it out in year 2000. This is 2025. Can we still find that information? Of course. But here's the deal. What if it was year 1000? Can we find this in 2000? Of course you can. Time does not play any role. Heck, not even location. So we have reached a point that majority of humanity's basically shared knowledge and wisdom is just there. It's free of time. It does not matter where you are, when you are, you can just have it. That is a big deal, meaning time no longer erases our progress, so to say. That again compounds with the fact that more people are working on things that they will never see the end of. And brick by brick, day by day, civilization grows even greater. Civilizational intelligence. So that's the things that make humanity humanity. Everything else is just organism. We are a civilization. And here's the deal. Progress is one of those things that you have to understand. It's what we call never ending, meaning it's just a march. You are walking. It's like, what do we say to the god of death? Not today. Nothing more than that. That's all there is to it. Nothing more than that. So it's a never ending. It's like perfection. You will never ever achieve it. You just chase it. That's the only thing you can do. Now, scientifically, what does that mean? Scientifically, that simply means do more, basically do more things with less energy, less time, and less consequence. These are the three variables that you are optimizing for. For example, why did early humans started to cook the food? Well, cooking the food took some energy, right? You have to figure out how to light the fire, find the woods, and all that. That's consuming energy. Why would you do that? Well, here's the deal. Cooking the food reduced the consequence of basically pathogens in meat. Consequence part went down. Cool, awesome. Second, energy. While you did spend energy to collect the wood and light the fire, cooked meat is much easier to digest. So your body gains more out of it. So let's say it was 100 megajoule of energy was there. You can get almost 70 megajoule. If it was uncooked, yeah, you will not. And you can see that in primates, basically their jaws are like huge because again, they're spending a lot of energy just chewing because we evolved for cooked foods, done. So less energy. Time. While it does take more time to do and all that, overall because your digestive system rests much easier and you have more energy, you gain the time vector. So that's the whole point of it. You do more with less energy, lesser time, or even if it consumes more time but it saves later. It's like making a production line. It takes a lot of time but it saves you in the future. So same point. Energy, time, and consequences. So for example, we started with bow and arrow, and that was a good puppy. And here we have American male in his natural habitat with his natural things known as 50 caliber BMGs. I have no idea what the heck you guys are smoking, but it is what it is. So this guy, let's say a bow and arrow. Best bow and arrow I have seen is barely 300 to 600 meter. 800 if you're really skilled with long arch bows, really pushing it. This puppies, they start at 2.5 kilometer. They're like, bro, if you're not hitting something at 2.5 kilometer, you are bad. The weapons is like, bro, me good. And here's the deal, it takes less energy. You will be tired just firing few arrows. This you can keep going like few magazines. And time-wise, again, much closer firing rate and consequences. The likelihood of something there going kaput to you is very less. Like a cheetah, if you are kaputting a cheetah at 2.5 kilometer, even if you miss a shot, it will take an awful long amount of time for a cheetah to come back to you. Here, it can do. So consequences domain goes down. And this puppy, the printing press, turbocharged everything, because once we started copy pasting books wholesale, it turbocharged the knowledge sea. Basically, instead of few thousand people having knowledge, now you have 10,000 people having knowledge. There's multiplied. It created more things, and voila, now billions of people have knowledge that it was unimaginable only few decades ago. Like only, like let's just say you go back to 1500s, the people like, what are you talking about that people know this much? And I'm talking about even the dumbest person today. That's how much we know. I'm not talking about like cultural wise or ethos wise, life ethos and all that, but like in terms of just raw knowledge, this puppy turbocharged us. So that's what it means, progress. Basically, do more with less energy, less time, and have less consequences. Basically, air condition. It solved two problems but had consequences. We started to fry ozone layer. Then what will be the progress at that point? Going from harmful refrigerant to hydrocarbon refrigerant, so you no longer have that consequence. That's the whole point. Progress is never ending. Never ending. It will never end. You will always chase this. Consume less energy, do it in quicker time, and have less consequences. Now, diversity. Now, humans are basically made out of same gene codex. We call it DNA. But here's the deal. Why there is so much diversity? Like biological diversity. Like you can see and tell, bro, this is different. Like you can DNA sequence and it's like, yo, you have this much mix, and that's like, why there is that? Like why there is so unique traits? Well, early humans were slow. Meaning, if I tell you that your boy here was riding on something that was going 800 kilometers per hour, you're like, oh, you are riding on a normal passenger jet. It's a normal thing. It was not doable for few thousands of years. Humans were very slow. Penalty of that slow is that environmental dictated basically what they can do. Basically, their home base was detected. They were not scouting for home base. They're like, this is where we are. This is the closest we can go, the end. Like if you have river, you stay around the river, the end. You do not go in the middle of nowhere and it's like, okay, set up shop there. That was not happening. They were very slow. And seas and mountains were unimaginable voids. Can some people cross it? Of course they did. Like if you hear about like Spanish Empire, French Empire, or British Empire, you may have a feeling that you're like they were over expanding. Here's the, if you actually look at the people, it's not like everybody in UK actually visited India. Like that's not a thing. Same goes with like royalties did that, soldiers did that, but like most people, not even, and again, even if the empire was huge, best case scenario, they're going to spend like one section, like, okay, this sector is mine. They're not going to do, because they were slow. They were very slow. They physically could not do that. Like voyages used to be called voyages because it was so long. It was like, bro, long. So fundamentally, like you can have India and China next to each other, but the culture could be completely different. Why? There is a giant wall known as Himalayas. It was unimaginable to cross. Now, here's it. Did some people cross it? Of course they did, from both sides. But they were like, travelers and explorers and all that. So it was very, what you call, limited. It was like, cool. So what did it mean? Like having like seas creating an absolute boundary, geological features creating a boundary. It created what we call basically isolation. Isolation simply meaning you do not know that other people even exist. They're just rumors that you hear. It's not something that, I'm born in one state of India. I can just take a flight, go to other state and see completely different looking people talking completely different language. That wasn't a thing that most people could have done. So isolation was a norm. Even though you can hear about things, read about things, it was just not real. And that created a scenario where uniqueness fundamentally started to happen. And I'm talking early humans, early humans. So what did it mean? It simply means it's shaped by our survival bias. Basically, if you are born in Africa, which was hot, you will have completely different perception of water versus somebody born in India. In India, we have perception of flood, like our stories, our ethos has floods. It does not have drought, because again, we had rivers. Like a simple thing, like if you go 2 generations back in India, as in like just the time of India's independence, all our grandfathers were like, oh yeah, I used to swim to go to this place, I used to swim to go to school and all that. It's like, we had that many rivers. Now we smoked too much and we put too much dam, so we no longer have a lot of rivers. But We used to have so much dam. Like water was not an issue. It's like, bro, we did not worry. Same, by the way, same with China. And if you ever wondered why the heck India and China has bonkersly huge population, exponentially larger than anything else, the third largest is USA, and it is so small compared to India and China. You have to remove 1 billion people from India and China, then the remainder still might be, if not bigger than USA. So why the heck we have that many? Well, rivers, boatload of rivers with some extra rivers. Did I mention rivers? Even more rivers. So that shaped us. We are used to like having fertile land. We're used to having ginormous families. So we have words for every single relatives in Hindi. If you have any Indian nearby, ask them how many relatives they can name, like in terms of their slot. Basically, fufa, fufi, chacha, chachi, nana, nani, everything has plots. Like dedicated word. Like, and again, Japan also has some unique things where they, for word love and bond and something like that, they have multiple words to describe it. It's directly dependent on their culture, which is directly dependent on the environment. They are an island environment. So our environment shaped us. Basically, why Arabs look completely different? Well, they are in desert. Now water, no water. Like water is not there. Water is the primary thing. Second, culture is created because of this isolation, because of that environment. That's why it's completely different. You will have one culture that is completely okay with polygamy, other culture will be completely okay with monogamy. It's like, how the heck that can happen on the same planet? Completely different infrastructure. Culture is the output. Languages reflect that. Like if you have a rich places, you will have a lot of language. China used to have a lot of languages before CCP shift deleted majority of it. India still has that. Like we still have 22 official language, 600 working language, few thousand extinct language. Yes, India has that. Like basically take Africa, miniaturize it, that's India. So culture is the output. Again, rivers, lots of it. Scarcity and predators. These are the vector you do not control. Meaning, if you put a lot of humans, let's say you put in Africa, you put scarcity, meaning their land apparently is supposed to be very lush and all that, but environment had changed. So they went from like GG amounts of food to God help us, we don't have any food very quickly. Like they could not adapt. Or again, we will have a hard time adapting with modern technology. They had like very hard time doing that. So that created scarcity. And now add predators to that, like lots of predators. Now we have 50 caliber BMG, but back in the days we did not have that. So that creates a violence vector, meaning you have to be very cruel about things. You cannot tolerate things. And again, you can see that wherever you have scarcity, people behave differently. We know this, like this is absolute. It is absolute. It's the reality of it. Meaning if you're how we have kuposhan, basically early malnourishment. Basically, if a child is grown at that time is malnourished, it will have consequences that you cannot fix in the elder stage. That's the whole point. So scarcity and predators. Basically, people who are like surrounded by predators will be completely different in terms of their behavior pattern compared to someone else. They will be quick to violence because they have to be. Otherwise, they will be shift deleted. So it's not bad thing or anything. It's like it's adoption. They had to in order to survive. So if you see like, okay, why don't they have this and that? It's like, did their environment allow that? Did the environment say like, here's water, go, here's fertile land, go? Or was the environment like, good luck finding water? So that creates a very absolute unchangeable scenario where you cannot change it. It's like, yeah, this is the birthplace of it. Like diversity, that's where it's coming from. Like people who grew up in very cold places, they have completely different language, completely different culture. Even though nowadays everybody is speaking English, but you get the point. It's completely different. And again, completely different. Go to Japan, it looks completely different. Go to Korea, it looks completely different. Go to Australia, it looks completely different. Early, indigenous people, not the modern ones. same thing happens everywhere. So scarcity and predators directly affects the violence level. You have to be. Like if everybody is fighting for some amount of water, everybody will be violent. It have to be. So, and again, in India, we did not have to worry about it. It's like we had water. Did we say we had water? So, and religion, how does it plays into it? Well, harsher the scenario, higher the sacrifices you will make. Basically, be it abstinence, be it the not desire to eat something specific, higher the sacrifice you made, the more potent your religion becomes. I have linked a very amazing video about it. It's talking in the context of Dune movie. They showed this part very accurately. Basically, the harsher your environment, the stronger the religion you will create, because you have to do a lot of sacrifice in order to actually strive. And it creates a what we call feedback loop that reinforces the religion. Now again, you can see that like India's most of the religious pilgrimage has rivers in it because we have rivers. So, and again, different cultures have that inherent diversity source. The source is Earth. The source is basically we did not have global village yet. Now we come to the global village part, as in we are living in the future. Now, what does that mean, right? We are living in the future. What does that mean scientifically? Well, once imagination, what we used to imagine is now reality. For example, we can travel anywhere at this point in time, meaning if you are upper class or middle class or lower middle class, it would be difficult, but it is doable. You can travel anywhere at bunker speed, 800 kilometers per hour. That's a normal passenger jet speed, by the way. Like you can just like lol, like just lol, like you can go from one side of USA to other side of USA and it's just like minor inconvenience. You can just do it. You can go from America to Europe and it's a minor inconvenience. You can go from Abu Dhabi to Australia, major inconvenience, but you can do it. So instead of voyages taking months, it's like bruh, it's a very bad jet lag. So that became a reality. Imagine telling that 2000 years ago to someone. It's like they will have a hard time comprehending 800 kilometers per hour, and then there will be military pilot. It's like, oh, poor people, they travel so slow. I travel at 2000 kilometers, and then there will be some grandpa would be like, bro, back in my day, we used to travel 3000 kilometers per hour. So you get the point. And think we are each of us are riding things that make horses look like a toy. Like, oh, your horse has 1 horsepower. Yeah, my cheap, low-cost Honda motorbike has more than that. It's like, bro, we good. We got this. And cars is like, oh, even my espresso has like 20 plus horsepower, so to say. So, and here's the, imagine Himalayas, right? I told you, like, it's a very brutal thing. We can go through it now. Like today, nowadays, we just like, oh, you have a hill. Drrr. Like we just go through it. The end. Like just go through it and be mindful. This is ancient technology. Like we have been doing this with steam train. Like, oh, there is a mountain. Drrr. So these things became a normal thing. Now, ocean voyages used to be so cruel, so brutal. Like, it was like very lethal. You can send 500 ship, only 300 will make it, and a lot of them would be sick. There is a very good chance a lot of people will be ship deleted. So that was normal. From that to, oh, we are going on to sea. Why? Well, we are bored on land. Like literally, we are literally chilling on ocean. One of the most deadliest environment. We are just like chilling. We are chilling there, or we are using it because it's a cheap shipping. That's the only use of sea now. So fundamentally, this created a completely different world that was unimaginable for humans for thousands of years. From our evolutionary biology point of view, it never happened. Like it's so early on right now. So what does it mean? That simply means you can see and talk to anyone in globe. Basically, I can literally pick up my phone and Saturdays and I talk with my friend who is in Australia. I can pick up my phone or do a video call basically Thursday evening to our team in CV Global, which is in America. That's a normal thing for us. But here's the, this was not real. This was not imaginable 1000 years ago, 5000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. Like all this is basically after World War II. So this created a scenario where all this isolated tribe, instead of getting books and some reports and some photos, it's like, whoa, my man, whoa, it's a thing, it's a real, it's tactile, you can touch it, you can interact with it. So that created a scenario where we reached global village. Heck, the level of human civilization is like we have this puppy in space. It's just a thing. It's just like we built it, we put it. How long it has been there? Yeah, 40 years. So you see, like we have reached the future. Global village is here. So who decides who becomes the rich one here, right? That's the first issue. Like there are 200 countries. Most of them are not looking good. Let that be very clear. Most of them are not looking good. Like, no, they're not good. Why? Well, trust. This is the part that you have to understand. This is the hardest thing to understand. Trust is the currency of civilization. Dollar means nothing if people do not have trust into it. Stock market means nothing if people have no trust on it. Trust is the currency of a civilization. A civilization will become rich no matter what happens if they have trust. So fundamentally, a high trust society can do things that will look like a magic to low trust society. Low trust society, for example, let's just say corruption, right? Now, let's compare this to South Africa and Japan. Japan would be like, does Japan has corruption? Of course. Does South Africa has corruption? Of course. Now, how much? That's the difference. In Japan, they're like, most of the things goes without any issue. Most of the government fund is spent without issue. Of course, let's just say there is 20% penalty. Now, here's the deal. In Africa, South Africa specifically, there is 80% penalty. Heck, there people are stealing coal. They have coal mafia there. So they cannot even imagine, like African people cannot imagine that you're like, oh, you paid money for building a power plant and a power plant was built and it was providing electricity. What? Like, what do you mean that happens? Like, yeah, that's a thing. In a high trust society, you spend money, you build things, it works. Now, of course, some deviation would be there, but it will work. And you're like, oh. And if you ever wondered why the heck we have burnt billions of dollars and even trillion, I think nowadays they have crossed it, like trillions of dollars giving to Africa as a whole, and nothing has changed. That's the reason. If you do not have high trust society, money means nothing because your civilization is poor. Civilization does not have the currency, fundamentally. And what does it grant you, like a civilization? Let's say it risks it, like, I'm going to be a high trust society. All of the people, members of it, willingly take that risk. It makes them extremely resilient to everything. Meaning you can take Japan, you can shift, delete multiple places and then have 2 sun dropped onto them and they will still recover. Or you can look into Pakistan where it's like, hey, you got independence almost at the same time frame and you're still kaput, you're still asking for money. Like 22 international loan, bailout loan. So that's the whole point. If you do not have high trust society, it does not work, flat out. And high trust society will always end up with more prosperity and riches. And it will not be wealth of like exploitative wealth. It won't be like, oh, I had oil, that's why we are rich. No, it will be like, it does not matter what we have or what we don't have. We will be rich. The end. The end. Of course, let that be very clear. No society is 100% trustworthy. No society is 100% corrupt. That's not how it works. It's just the vector of it. Basically high or low. And you can make a laws. Like this is, I even had a discussion with a almost childish person. It's like law, we'll have laws and regulation. Do you not think there are enough laws and regulation in constitution? Like I was in Ranchi High Court, basically Jharkhand High Court. There was this dialogue written there in a big plaque, which was, however good a constitution may be, if those who are implementing it are not good, it will prove to be bad. However, a bad constitution may be, if those implementing it are good, it will prove to be good. Ambedkar, very important person in helping India's constitution. And he understood this part very well. Like, it does not matter what you have in the law. For example, I'll give you a simple thing. Court has a laws, regulation, right? Now, in that regulation, if a wife files a missiles at her husband and she says like, violence and all that, cool, awesome, GG, we're gonna kaput the husband. But here's the deal. You have to at least file some paperwork. If you say that my husband kaputed me so badly, I went into hospital, I was admitted, give the hospital receipt. Right? The hospital have to create that prescription by law. They have to create it. So there has to be a prescription. Now here's the deal. Legally, you will get a timeline where it's like, hey, get it done as quickly as possible. 1 week, maybe 15 days. If I am being ludicrously generous, 1 month. Here's the deal. I know of a case where that has been going on for 7 years. They're trolling. It's like, who cares? The same paradox. Who watches the Watchmen? Like, who are you going to complain to? Who are you going to complain to? They're judge itself. Like, who the hell are you going to do? So, laws and regulation means nothing. Like, for example, this is one of the gentlemen in India, Supreme Court, if I'm not mistaken. Supreme Court or High Court? Oh, High Court. Yeah, Delhi High Court. This individual had 10 CR, 10 crores. That's bonkers amount of money. And again, at raw cash, be mindful. India recently passed a law that you should not be able to use cash to pay for something very huge. If you do, like, you have to do a lot of paperwork, like it's almost impossible to do. He should not have this much money. Like, his salary is nowhere near where he could have that kind of money. And he just has it. And like, nothing happened to him. A civilian forgets to file his taxes. Everybody's like, let's fire missiles at his ass. And he's like, bruh, I'm God. So that's the whole point. Do not think about, oh, laws, regulation means nothing. You do not have this means nothing. Zero. Zilch, nothing. Because be mindful, if you look into the constitution of South Africa, it has the same thing. Thou shall not steal coal meant for coal power plant. They're like, lol. Lol. They're like, we're going to put police to clear corrupt part of it. Lol. Lol. So that's the whole point, flat out, because people have to follow it, otherwise nil. For example, Russia's constitution also had the logical brain part of it. It's like, hey, thou shall not allow someone to be there for more than 2 terms. What's the first thing Putin does? Deletes that part. Was the thing that every public in Russia should have done. Should not have allowed that. There should have been revolt at that point in time. They did not. Well, now they're suffering. So that's the whole point of it. Like Madoff, he caused so much harm. And dude was not poor. That's the tragic part of it. He was not poor, but he was poor of trust. That's why it's like, I need more. It's like, bro, you good. You good. You cannot spend that much. Like, you have to work hard to spend it. Like, you, instead of going to hospital, you can buy the hospital and still have money left. Like, he had that kind of money and still was like, but what if I, that's the whole plan. He was a low trust individual in a high trust society. He ship-deleted a very large chunk of joy and trust, so to say. So let that be clear. There is no cheat code. There is nothing. If you have a high trust society, you will survive, you will thrive, and you have to work diligently to make sure that trust is maintained. If you are not, God help you. Like, flat out, God help you. Because it creates a paradox. Who watches the watchman? So there are failures here, because you have to understand now, because we are reaching into the global village era. If your tribe fails to build a trust, which again, mind you, there are 200 countries almost, and many people, oh, India is this country and all that. Like, I had a German commenter commenting us like, oh, India has this many problems. Like, bro, I'm talking about internet. We got it. Like, I have fiber optic in my house long ago. Like, I don't even remember, like, it's 4 years ago or 5 years ago I got it. And be mindful, it was late by 1 year because somebody ran the fiber wrong. And most villages in India has it. And then he was saying, like, holy hell, like in Germany, I have to pay exponential or I only get copper connection. Right? Things happen. Like, completely different things happen. Why? Because while India does have a lot of corruption, a lot of mess, we are mid-trust society. Where it's like, we do trust, like, we're going to put fiber, nobody's going to steal the fiber, we good, we got it, it works. That's why you and I are having this conversation. Mid-trust. Not very high, but not too low, like mid. So if your tribe fails to build trust, does not matter what money you have. Like, it's meaningless, because again, money is mute. Money is flat out mute. So you will just rot. You can be like, okay, somebody came in and built a coal power plant. If you do not have trust, who do you trust to maintain your coal power plant? Nobody, na? And then kaput. So, and what happens when you mix these two together, like, high trust society and you directly imported individuals, low trust society? Well, they will learn to exploit it. For example, this individual, I genuinely am very frustrated with this, and this should not have happened, because again, India have very strict immigration policies, as in like going out also, very strict, like heck, difficult as hell. And somehow this individual cheated and get out of there, and he got into basically America. Here's the deal, India does have a lot of issue with drunk driving and all that. Here's the deal. He did the same thing in USA and caused loss of life. Again, you would think, right? A lot of people will think, oh, if India had more rules and regulation, they did. He did. Like, the problem was with the person, not with the rules and regulation. The person was low trust, not high trust. He did not respect other people. Like, oh, I'm going to drink and drive and God help everybody else. Like, that happened. And again, this should not have happened. And I feel very sorry for a lot of Punjabis, Sikh people, basically, who wear this turban. It's like, they will get extra hate for this. And again, it should not have happened. He should not have gotten outside of India. It's like, that's why we have so much strict, regulations and rules about that. Because again, what's the first thing he learned? Like, he should not have a driving license because he does not know English. But somebody trusted him. That's the one thing he did. Like, he could have done, like, hey, instead of exploiting these people, hey, what if I learn with this? What if this was my, clean slate choice? Which again, mind you, a lot of Indians did in the early years. That's why India had a very good reputation with that. Like, Indians hardworking. Why we don't have that? We have too many low trust people penetrating the barrier. Blame Biden for that. So exploiting, basically, what does it lead to, right? Let's say you had a lot of people doing that. It leads to, basically, instead of creating mutual benefit, basically, if I'm talking to an American, I want him to find something valuable out of it. He has to find something valuable out of me. Cool, mutual benefit. Both make love. And if you do not, if you're like, okay, I'm going to exploit it, all it does, it creates hate. Again, it will not happen in day one, but it will happen on, like, again, India learned English very early on. We did put a lot of effort into making sure that all our children can learn English. But here's the deal, we could do amazing thing with that. We can become CEO of Google and all that jazz, or we can scam you. And you can understand what happens if everybody started to scam you. You will hate it, and I cannot blame you. So fundamentally, that does happen. And exploiting people does not make you rich. This is the part that you have to understand. All the empires, they have fallen into ruin simply because of this. You cannot become rich by exploiting. The only way to become rich is basically mutual benefit. Now, again, who you're giving mutual benefit to, that could be different. You could be Jeff Bezos and be like, hey, mutual benefit to uber rich people, you go to space. But you have to do something like that. You always have to. Like, exploitation does not make you richer. Flat out. Like, at best, it gives you temporary wealth, which again, now you have another problem. It's like, how the heck you spend it? So, High trust society does have one penalty, let that be clear. While it sounds like, oh, high trust society, everything is awesome, no, they are very stupid in one regard. They have very easy to exploit, specifically if you are utilizing empathy as a backdoor. They are really easy to, like, here, do this thing and ship delete yourself, and they will do it. So, like, for example, this Somalia guy is like, he was in Japan, by the way, and they kicked him out. They should have put him in jail, like at least for 1 year. It would have been better for him because he did not learn his lesson. He went to Korea. Korean people tried him, like they tried to give him warning. It's like he did not learn his lesson. He was not in the mindset of, I give you something, you get something from me, like, mutual benefit. Like, I run this YouTube channel, so you learn something, I gain some money from it. Like, mutual benefit. You find something useful, I find something useful. He was just like, what if I F the public? It's like he did that 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Now he might actually go to jail. Let's hope for sanity of internet. He does go to jail for 10 years at least. But again, it would have been better if Japan would have put him in, like, 1 year. So that is a vulnerability. Like, once you're in high trust society, it's very difficult to get out of that mindset, because you will think that front person is, like, logical. It's like how world is not blown up with the nuclear warheads, because both parties, as in USSR and America, assumed the other party is wise. They're not retarded. They assumed each other is wise enough. Where it's like, yo, they will not want to ship delete themselves. We would not want to ship delete ourselves. That's how the mutual doctrine works. So that's the whole thing. It's like fundamental, like, oh, I'm scared and all that. It's like how that, like, again, I flat out blame the individual. Like, again, he should not have out of India. He should not have gotten to USA. But again, I do blame the trucking company giving a license to a guy who does not read English. It's like, bro, I get it, you are trusting individual, and I do not hate that part, but bro, that should not have happened. Again, this is South Africa. It's like, no to corruption. It's like, we can be corruption free. We say no to corruption. It's like, that's the whole point. There is a failure point. Like, let that be very clear. How we do things, it creates a high trust society, low trust society. If you're coming from scarcity, it's difficult to teach you, like, we have enough. More you share, the more richer you get. It's difficult to get this into people's head, like, very difficult. And again, you have to understand the failure to do that, you will destroy whatever else thing is working. So this was my presentation on basically diversity versus progress and the friction that is going on, boom, boom, that is going on. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show my assessment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.